Zeri, who is from South Korea, and Jonghyuk, who is from North Korea, have a remarkable love story that is included in the popular Korean drama Crash Landing on You. They reunite in Switzerland in the final episode and end with a happy ending. People who watch it could be curious if South Koreans and North Koreans could get married. North and South Korea is the same country in tandem with different countries. They share all things such as culture, language, and history. When it comes to talking in their native language without the aid of interpreters, they are the only nation. However, since the Korean War, they've been at war until now and separate. Namely, they are for each other legally. If North Koreans or South Koreans cross the border, they would be killed immediately. The soldiers continue to guard their border, which is encircled by barbed wire. There was no way in the world for North and South Korea to cross via one another's countries. Then, can they get married then? So from now on, we can learn about the marriage of North Koreans and South Koreans. Let's get straight to the point. The marriage between North Koreans and South Koreans is possible but de facto impossible. Actually, their relationships are complicated. In the first place, South Korea doesn't recognize North Korea as a state. According to Article 3 of the Constitution, the territory of the Republic of Korea shall be the Korean Peninsula and its annexes implies that South Korea regarded the Korean Peninsula under the South Korea's control, which means that North Korea is not a state separately. This is due to the fact that when South Korea passed its constitution, it didn't realize how long the war would last. South Korea views North Korea as an anti-state organization and object that has to unite, not a state. Therefore, it is more difficult question regarding the marriage between North Koreans and South Koreans rather than in other countries. Also, the law about marriage is different depending on the South and the North. It may be hard not to crack to follow which one. Of course, people who were married in the North just adhere to the religious laws and vice versa. However, it is impossible in this situation to freely marry each other as a counterpart country in each country. Usually, there are two ways that they can marry. First, they marry in a third country neither South nor North, just like in Crash Landing on You. They can have their wedding ceremony in a third country and be legally married there according to the local laws. However, it is unprecedented and unexampled until now. Second is a North Korean or a South Korean crosses the border, but there is little to no chance that a South Korean goes to the North over the border. Also, most of the cases are only cases where a person who has defected from North Korea returned to North Korea. Therefore, we just go over the marriage between South and North Korean defectors. Since the late 1990s, North Korean defectors have defected from North Koreans and went to South Korea in earnest. There are 30,000 North Korean defectors in South Korea now. North Korean defectors are citizens of South Korea constitutionally. The South Korean government regards North Korean defectors as an expatriate. As a result, people might instantly acquire South Korean citizenship upon entering without having to go through any formal acquisition process. Namely, North Koreans could marry South Koreans without any effort when they were defectors. Mostly, the woman defectors marry South Koreans among the defectors. Almost 70% of the defectors are women in the first place. They suffer exceeding pain mentally and physically and also were easily exposed to rape and sexual assault rather than men during the defection. Therefore, they desire to live a stable and comfortable life escaping from the violence and instability in South Korea. They prefer South Korean men more than men in North Koreans, because in their opinion, South Koreans are kinder and sweeter than North Koreans. In the case of North Korea, the division of gender laws between man and woman is more patriarchal than that of South Korea. Also, marriage to South Korea makes it easier to adjust and live in South Korea. That is to say that marriage to South Korea ensures the social security, economic stability, and the precondition of settlement, especially for woman defectors. Except in the circumstances of North Korean defectors, up until this point, it is uncommon to find a marriage between the South and the North. Of course, there have been a few instances where they were on the verge of getting hitched. Jo Myung-hae, who is a North Korean dancer, dated a South Korean man in China and was tried to marry him. They also didn't meet the bride and groom's families, which means the de facto expected marriage in Beijing. However, it is said that the NIS interrupted their marriage, and their marriage fell through. Also, one of the South Korean men who worked at Gaesong Industrial Complex, which was the special economic zone invented by the North and South together located in North Korea, came close to marrying a North Korean woman. When South Korea and North Korea were on good terms, the Gaesong Industrial Complex was active, and many people in South Korea worked at the Gaesong Industrial Complex in North Korea. However, now that the relationship with North Korea has deteriorated, the Gaesong Industrial Complex has been suspended. Just as the Gaesong Industrial Complex was suspended, their marriage was also said to have fallen through. Namely, crash landing on you is literally a drama. If a South Korean crossed the border by paragliding, she will be killed the moment they cross the border. If it's the case, the drama couldn't start just the first episode. So thank you for watching this video, and please don't forget to click the subscribe and the like button.